Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very accomplished young entrepreneur from the healthcare and wellness space in Singapore, Mr. Bryan Se To. Bryan, welcome to the show.
Hi, Ash. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. It's great.
Thank you. Bryan is the founder and CEO of Lexly Health, and we'll be speaking about the miracles he's doing in Lexly Health for so many people. So, Bryan, let me start by asking you, when I was reading about you, you said at 24 years old, you were told that you had a body of a 40-year-old. Please explain and share with us your journey.
Yeah, so it's a funny story, really. I was back then working as a technology consultant, and they have these free scans. So we were just going up there getting free scans, and there were this form that we have to fill up, and there were these check boxes, and one of them actually did tingling in fingers. So I had to check that, and I thought, hey, isn't this something normal? And then the admin staff was saying, no, this is not something normal,
Wow.
and suggested for me to go up to them and do an experience. Okay, let's see where this takes me. And so I took an X-ray, and the results were out. And so they were comparing my X-ray with 4 different spines. So the different spines were the spines in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. So I took my chart and compared with the 20s. I said, hey, it looks so different. And then move on to the 30s, looks so different too, but getting there. And then to the 40-year-old spine, I said, hey, that looks kind of me. And it was scary because when they knew my age and I was 24 years old, we said, hey, Bryan, you have a body of a 40-year-old. And oh my God, I was just thinking, what's going on? I'm only 24. And everything just makes so much sense. The back aches, the fatigue, the tingling in my hands, everything just was explained so well. And that's when I realized that it's not just me. The people around me were having very similar problems because everyone was just working very long hours. So that's why I wanted to start a company where I can help a lot of people.
Amazing. And yet, Bryan, for my viewers and listeners, when you say you compared your X-ray with the 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, is it in relationship to the stresses and the degradation that happens with our bone structure, or is it something else that you are comparing?
So it's mainly the long hours in front of the computer. It couples with stress as well. So when we are stressed, our muscles are tensed up. And I don't really move a lot, and our body is not designed to be that way. So that's why everything was in a mess.
Very interesting. And then you decided to start Lexly Health. So tell me a little bit about this venture and what have been some of the identifiers that you have worked on, and then we'll get to neck and back pain.
So Lexly provides this back pain reduction using AI, and we can do that back pain relief within 5 minutes. So what happens is that our clients, when they have back pain and they want that pain relief, they sort of just open up our app, and we have a curated physiotherapy program for them already. And they will just turn the smartphone camera on, just facing it, and then following to do the exercises while our AI provides corrective feedback. And then after that, they'll get onto a short call with our physiotherapy and health coaches to make this on a long-term thing. So that was how we actually, and we just launched quite a short while back. And we have clients who have tried to heal their back pain for the past 10 years, spent a lot of money, but couldn't do anything. But I think with our program, a few of them actually were able to reduce their back pain within a month. So we're very happy to help more people as we can.
Wow. So let's talk a little bit about neck and back pain. You mentioned one of the reasons could be working long hours in front of computers, which has now become part of everyone's life.
Yeah.
How do most people cope with back pain?
Yeah, so most people always go for the very most common treatment, and that's the massage. And I think people always have this misconception, thinking that feeling good through your massages actually means you are getting better. But in actual fact, it only helps you in probably a couple of days to maybe a couple of weeks, but you have to keep going back for that massage. And it's not really very sustainable. So that's how most people are coping right now today.
Right.
And we believe that we can definitely help them more.
And Bryan, what really causes this pain to develop? And, I was talking to my son who lives in Singapore, and I was telling him that, he's 37, and that I'm going to be speaking to you. And he says a lot of his peers in his own age group are beginning to develop back pains. So what is the cause for back pain?
So actually not moving and staying in a position for very long hours will help with back pain. So that's the most common reason. There's a lot of other reasons as well. So here at Lexly, we're adapting this model called the biopsychosocial model, which modern physiotherapists are using. So bio is where your body is not doing its work. So you're not exercising a lot, it's sitting in one place. Psycho and social also represents your social circle and your mental wellness to help you see how bad or how well you receive pain. So mainly that is one form of back pain, but there is a lot of different kind of back pain. Some could be due to injury, some can be due to the not moving a lot. So there's a lot of different reasons, but here actually we're starting off with the chronic pain where a lot of people are just not moving a lot yet.
And what does aging have to do with this? I mean, I remember when I was in my early 40s, I used to have a lot of back pain. But now that I'm in my 60s, I don't seem to have any back pain, and I'm playing golf twice a week.
Yeah. So there was this funny experiment going around where people in their 20s, excuse me, are actually starting to understand they have back pain. And then they let that snowball for a couple of years. So the back pain is actually quite bad in people in their 30s and their 40s.
Okay.
But then when people hit their 50s and 60s, they get a lot better.
Okay.
So people are more aware of their body on the kind of steps and actions they have to take. So I think Ash, you did a really good job there by going to more golf sessions. That actually keeps your muscles moving, and actually movement is the best kind of medicine.
Interesting. So what you're really saying is that the more exercise that you do and the more fit you remain, the better your back pain will be under control.
Yeah, but I understand that sometimes, like your son, I think he's really busy, and there's a lot of things to do at work. But sometimes it's not about being really fit. Sometimes it's about just walking, taking walks for just 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and that will actually help with your back pain already.
And how important is posture for neck and back pain?
So posture helps to a certain extent. So you can have like the best setup, you can have like the best chair or whatever. But if you stay in your seat for too long, the back pain will still come back and haunt you. So a general rule of thumb is just to get up for 1 minute for every 1 hour. To take a cup of water, to go to the toilet, and that will actually help to reduce your back pain a lot. So posture ergonomics will help, but at the end of the day, it still doesn't fully help someone from their back pain.
Very interesting. So now, Bryan, let's move to Lexly and the solution you have developed using artificial intelligence. Tell me a little bit about this and what has gone into developing this amazing solution.
So I must say the development part is not simple. It's definitely quite difficult.
Yeah.
I think kudos to my team for putting in so much effort. They're really smart, really brilliant. But how it works is that we use computer vision to detect our pose. So we use lots of moving images to train the machine learning model,
Mm.
our AI. And then it sort of detects your joints or where that is. So like I will detect where my shoulders are, and then where my elbows and where my hands are. And then they will sort of just connect. There'll be lines that will connect to these body parts. So from there, how Lexly comes in is that if you're doing a certain exercise, your body is supposed to move in a certain way. And if you're moving it incorrectly, we provide that feedback to make sure that you have a safe and effective physiotherapy recovery.
And is this some kind of a device that is added on and attached to a body to be able to determine it, or is it through imaging, or what exactly are you using to be able to do the prediction? And please don't disclose anything that you don't wish to.
Sure, thanks, Ash. So the technology we're using is computer vision. It's not really a new technology, but it's very new in this application context. So you don't need to strap on anything. Just turn on your smartphone, turn on our app, turn on your front end camera, and there you have it. You have our technology just right in your fingertips.
Very interesting. But the other thing, when I was preparing to talk to you, I was reading about back pain, and there seem to be many, many, many solutions all over the world. What are you doing differently at Lexly?
So I think for starters, we have a co-founder, clinical director. His name is Dr. Benjamin. He takes care of all the physiotherapy stuff. So I only know a little bit, and I was just learning from him whatever I can. But he says that physiotherapy is one of the more recognized and evidence-based techniques, as compared to the rest of the other techniques. But among physiotherapists, and I think what's interesting here is that even when you go to a physiotherapist, a lot of people don't do the exercises at home. So it's like going to see a doctor. They give you the medicine, but you don't take it. So that's where it's troubling. But where Lexly Health comes in is that we help you to adhere to such exercises, thus increasing your recovery rate. And that's why we think that with this, we can help you to get a more effective recovery on the long run.
And is this with some kind of medication? I remember 20 years ago when I had a back pain, I would go to my physiotherapist and he would put some electronic nodes on my back, and there'll be some impulses, etc., that used to go through it and used to help me. I wanted to ask you, what exactly, is this an ongoing treatment that someone does with Lexly, or do they have to visit your centers?
So Lexly currently delivers our treatment through the mobile app only for now. And there are clinics out there that use various kind of machinery to help with patient recovery. But right now, what we are adapting is the model that has been working for many, many years, and they are evidence-based, they are peer-reviewed. So we believe that the exercises can help the patients most effectively at this point.
And what I'm hearing you say, Bryan, is that the app is able to predict and diagnose, but it is based more on exercising that helps our own back. Or is there any other kind of treatment?
So let me clarify a little bit on that. So we don't predict or we don't diagnose. We always have to ask our patients firsthand through a teleconsultation and through a pain assessment form. And then from there, our physiotherapists will help to deliver a program for them that is suitable for them. So mainly right now, it is those exercises as our main form of treatment.
And, my next question to you, Bryan, is that at what stage of a back pain should one come to you? Because if it gets very bad, then there may be need for surgery. So at what stage should people reach out to their smartphone and download the Lexly Health app and say, now let me start consulting?
Yeah, thank you. So we are in our very early stages. At this point, we recommend for people who don't have the pain that is too serious or too urgent to come to us first. Inevitably, I think in the future, when we increase and enhance our technology capabilities, we will be or we aspire to look into such treatment whereby if you are looking for a surgery, then we want to be there for you as well. But mainly, if back to your question on the stages, mainly is the maintenance after the recovery phase. So after surgery, there's a pre and post exercises to do. We want to look into that as well in the future. But for right now, our folks at the office that are having chronic pain, if you're sitting too long, Lexly is the app for you.
And based on all the work that you have been doing so far, are the challenges of our backs different or similar for men and women?
Okay. So I think they are quite similar in that sense. There's not much difference on a bio perspective. But I must say on a fun fact, ladies always have a higher pain threshold as compared to guys.
Well said.
So we always find that the ladies have their pain, they perceive the pain at a lower rating, whereas the guys is always very high. But sometimes it's all in the mind. And that's something interesting that we've come across.
Also, I was speaking to somebody else, and they say that a lot of the back pains tend to develop after a child is born for women.
Yes. So I think mainly that's because of the additional weight that they have to carry in the wombs. And that's why they have to rely on certain muscles that they have not been using or have not been, don't have to use as much as compared when they were not pregnant. So it's also the same concept when we are sitting in front of our desk and when we are leaning towards a certain direction too much. And the certain muscles have to compensate. So that's why it's hurting there more.
Very interesting. So just coming back to another question relating to the back, just before we have to go to surgery, can Lexly and your solution delay or defer or cure a problem that can avoid surgery?
I would say that we are not at that phase yet, but we aspire to work towards that. I've heard of stories where a surgeon had knee pain and he was just trying to I won't disclose who this surgeon
No,
is.
absolutely.
But he was just trying to have remove his knee pain, and he did surgery on himself. Sorry, not him, his colleagues. And then he realized that the risks of the surgery, he was well aware of the risks. And when he was recovering, he realized that the surgery didn't really help him. And he tried many different forms of treatment and found that Pilates was actually helping him to recover a lot more.
Right.
So I would say that that is a direction that we are trying out. We definitely want to see, because a lot of people don't want surgeries. They want that very natural kind of treatment. And I think that's where we are. I would say we don't have those research running up yet, but that's something we are aiming and targeting towards.
And I'm not sure if you have studied yoga, but I believe yoga is also a good way to be able to at least manage back pain.
Yeah, so yoga is definitely great because in similarity with physiotherapy, it has also stretching and strengthening exercises, which are two extremely important form of exercises for pain recovery.
Right.
But I must say that please consult your physiotherapist first. See, because if you have any past injury or traumatic injury, please understand which exercises that you can't do and don't overdo it when there's any pain. So just make sure that to be careful on that aspect.
Interesting. So, when I went to your app, there seems to be a long waiting list. What does one do? And not that I'm asking for a priority or anything. I mean, I'm just reading and researching before I had my conversation. There's a long waiting list, and you have still got operations only in Singapore. Are you planning to expand Lexly across Asia or globally?
Yeah, so actually, towards the end of this year, we're expanding to a few countries already.
Mm.
And right off the bat, when we were when we were finding users on our waiting list, we actually already have users in the US, in Malaysia. So they are not all necessarily in Singapore.
Okay.
But we will be expanding towards the end of this year already. And I know there's a lot of people waiting on our waiting list. We're trying our best, doing everything we can to try and keep up with the demand, so that we can help more people.
Wonderful. So I've got time for one more question, Bryan. And this is for the many, many people who've listened to our conversation. Young, old, men, women. Based on your own amazing journey and having worked with, I'm sure, so many people who you are helping through your research using AI for their back pain, what would you say are 3 lessons you would want our viewers and listeners to take away with reference to their neck and back and posture?
Yeah, thank you, Ash. That's a really, really great question. I would say number one is move more. Don't have to move just start something small, right? You can go with something easy. To share with my journey, I started with just 5 seconds of stretch, and then 5 minutes, 30 minutes, and now I'm at a gym, 90 minutes. So I'm trying to get there. So just start something small, even if it's just 1 minute for 1 hour, do it to help. So that's one. Number two, whenever you're really stressed, try to most importantly, take a break, because when you're stressed, your muscles get really tensed up, and that will actually affect your pain quite a bit as well.
Yeah.
And I think, last but not least, I think there are a lot of other techniques out there in the market. But the most and best medicine is still movement, and it's still yourself. So try to incorporate that into your lifestyle. And on a long run, you may find yourself not needing to go to massagers anymore, because your body is just a lot stronger. So to summarize that 3: physical wellness, move more; mental wellness, take breaks when you are less stressed; and last but not least, try to incorporate into your lifestyle as a habit. So this 3.
Fantastic. And on that note, and your 3 wonderful lessons, which is move more, but start easy, take bite-sized milestones for your own health. Number 2 is when stressed, take a break. And the third one is incorporate this into one's own lifestyle, so that there is no pressure for you to be able to see severe back pains. Bryan, thank you so much for speaking to me. Thank you for talking to me about your own journey and how you seem to have come back from a 40-year-old to now a 21-year-old back with 90 minutes in the gym. Thank you for speaking to me about Lexly Health, about neck and back pain, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers and listeners will benefit. I would encourage all our viewers and listeners to go and check out the Lexly Health app. And if you have a problem, get on the waiting list. Thank you again, Bryan, for talking to me, and good luck to you.
Thank you, Ash. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website, www.tbcy.in, to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.